Looks like there's a regenerated version of a quite important model in 40k. Let's take a look at a brand new Demon Prince. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we're talking about another interesting Chaos League. It does seem that Games Workshop is starting to deliver on this year of Chaos now, as it appears that arguably one of the most important models in the entire Chaos range is getting an update, as we've got some slightly blurry pictures of a new Demon Prince update from an Age of Sigmar book, and it is confirmed on one of the datasheets that a Demon Prince is exactly what it is. Good to know that at least something is going to be coming for the Chaos Demons. So far we've had rather a lot of rumours for just about every other faction in 40k that's had releases, but the Demons being one of the last codexes left and one of the ones that are kind of conspicuously absent. The fact that this is coming out for Age of Sigmar and has already leaked as well does mean that it might be around sooner rather than later, and I wouldn't be too surprised if Games Workshop does decide to reveal it fairly soon. I think the idea of regenerating the Demon Prince model isn't really too surprising to me. This one's the current Demon Prince, and it is one of their current plastic line, but I must admit I don't think it was a model that's been particularly loved by the community since it came out. The old metal one that it replaced was kind of dated looking, but a fairly iconic looking model, and this one often gets a bit criticised just for looking rather cartoony, and perhaps not one of the most inspiring kits for what's supposed to be the pinnacle of humanity's transformation into chaos. In particular, seeing as this guy came out, then all the greater demons were redone one by one. I think he's also starting to feel the pinch of 40k's scale creep somewhat. It does look a little bit bizarre when you have him striding into battle alongside a bloodthirster that's twice his height. Overall, I'd say there's nothing massively wrong with it, but I think a lot of people will be very happy for an update. The leak itself today comes from an Age of Sigmar book, the Slaves to Darkness army book I believe, pretty much the most generic Chaos faction for Age of Sigmar. I guess as close as you get to Chaos Space Marines for fantasy. I think there's no way that they'd just release a generic Demon Prince kit and only release it for Age of Sigmar though. In general, that just isn't what they do with Chaos Demons. I strongly suspect that this guy is going to be a dual kit for 40k and fantasy. Probably broadly the same model, as Chaos Demons tend to look pretty fantasy anyway, but maybe with a few optional extras that you can glue on if you happen to be fielding him in 40k. Maybe a bit similar to Be'lakor, where you had the option of being able to put a Primaris Lieutenant on his base. The model also does appear to be a generic Demon Prince, so not just a special character or anything, which will be quite a bit less exciting I think. I think if there's one thing that the Chaos Demons Codex doesn't really need any more of, it's more unique characters. Their HQ section is about the same size as the entire rest of the book. I guess though it's not impossible if they were going along the same sort of vibe as the Great Unclean One, the Lord of Change or the Keeper of Secrets, there might be a few different ways to build the model, and one of them might be a unique character for all we know. For leaked pictures of the model, we have this one that we've already seen, spreading the will of chaos there alongside some new other Age of Sigmar Chaos Foot troops, and you can see a fair few interesting details on the model just from this. It looks like in this picture he's armed with a great big axe, though his other hand is empty-handed. He's got a bunch of skull trophies strapped to his belt, and he has a horned helmeted head, though I strongly suspect that with Demon Princes they're almost the exact sort of model that you want to have a whole load of head options for. You could be going for very different vibes throughout the forces of chaos. It looks like it's decently taller than the previous Demon Prince as well. The wings are stretched out above his head as opposed to a bit more folded up and hunched over. Again, perhaps not too surprising as Games Workshop's figures tend to get a bit bigger over time. And as far as I can tell, there aren't any obvious god devotions on him. No marks of Khorne or Slaanesh or anything like that. I really wouldn't be too surprised again though if they didn't give you at least some sort of flavour of that to be modelled on in the kit. I did say earlier, but I do think that the Chaos Demon Prince is perhaps one of the most important Chaos kits in 40k. It's really quite a nice one to have a solid model for, as you can basically play it for a whole number of different armies, Chaos Demons of course, but also Chaos Space Marines, and Death Guard and Thousand Suns as well. Usually having a Demon Prince or two on the books isn't exactly the worst thing if you're going to be collecting any of these armies. Being able to use them in Age of Sigmar as well as a bonus is just an added extra. I feel like if this one goes down well, then Games Workshop will probably be selling a lot of him to all those various factions. The other image we have of him gives us a little bit of a clearer shot of the model without so much background stuff going on, and also a bit of an Age of Sigmar rules for him, admittedly a little bit blurry and hard to make out. It does rather importantly confirm that it is indeed the generic Slaves to Darkness Demon Prince though, and that this guy isn't just a special character. So I think really quite good evidence that this is indeed the update to the Demon Prince kit, and not just another very specific demon. From the war gear options listed, it sounds like things are largely going to be the same. You either have the option of a Hellforged sword or demonic axe, and at least from this it does sound like you have the option to keep the wings or leave them off, though it has been kind of rare throughout 40k's history that you'd actually want to ever have a Demon Prince and not give it wings to get it around the battlefield and into combat quicker. Again, still all very blurry, but you can make out a few more details of the left side of his body a bit better from this photo, I think. So overall, I do think that there's a pretty reasonable chance that this could be the miniature that Chaos Demons will be receiving for their codex. I guess it's not impossible that they could come out with more, but getting a resculpt of a really quite major integral character isn't bad, and it's better than a fair few of the other armies of 9th edition have got. Demon releases in 40k do tend to be a little bit scattergun, as often the models come out with a bit more of an Age of Sigmar focus, but then just get a whole load of sales because you can use them in 40k as well. So I think there's a pretty reasonable chance that this comes out alongside the Slaves to Darkness book, and the Chaos Demons one might be a little bit of an afterthought. Still though, it might give you at least some suspicion that a Chaos Demons codex isn't all that far behind the Slaves to Darkness one. I guess that could be a pretty good chance that it's coming out sooner rather than later. I guess there's a good chance that Games Workshop might well reveal it at Warhammer Fest, or they might give us an actual proper picture of it on their own web page, as they often do with leaked photos like this. If they put something out like that, I'll certainly link it down in the comments below. In terms of other options, hopefully there'll be enough flavourable parts to make it feel really quite 40k related. Certainly for the Chaos Marine Demon Princes, I think it's quite good to be able to feel that the model once was a Chaos Marine that's ascended to demonhood, even if the trappings are fairly few and far between, making it feel a bit more like Magnus or Mortarion, as opposed to maybe the slightly more generic devil guy with wings feel that maybe this guy has going on at the moment. The other kit was maybe a little bit light on god-specific touches. I would hope that that's something that Games Workshop might add a bit more of, if you do want a Demon Prince that's really quite flavourful for Khorne or Nurgle. I feel like head swaps could be a good way to do that, and plenty of options for that again could be a good way to make the kit feel a lot more unique. Finally, I've no doubt that the kit will come with a pretty hefty price bump. The current one's £30 or $50, and judging by Games Workshop's current big character or small monster releases, I could perhaps see it being somewhere in the range of £40 to $45, or maybe $60 to $70. I guess we'll wait and see on that front. There's always room for Games Workshop to disappoint there, I suppose. So let me know what you think of the new model down in the comments below. Would you be tempted to pick up a new Demon Prince if this was revealed to be the model in 40k and it did come with some flavourful options? Or was it perhaps arguably not the demon that needed the most attention in a resculpt? Look forward to hearing your opinions down in the comments below. If you want to keep up with Games Workshop's news and releases, I'll certainly cover as much as I can on the channel. We'll be talking a fair bit more Chaos over the next few days. There's leaks coming out for the Chaos Marine Codex and Chaos Knights as well. Hopefully she'll be getting to work on those videos in the very near future. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I'd just like to mention that Auspex Tactics has a Patreon page, and that's how I can afford to make so many videos on the channel quite so regularly. If you are enjoying a lot, any support is enormously appreciated. Channel patrons do get a few advantages, such as seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things happen next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with the chance to win some really big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.